One of the first places I want to start with our brick or our texture evaluation is with brick. We seem to have, I'm always surprised sometimes students very late in studio work are still applying the basic Revit brick texture. And this may disappear with newer versions. Hopefully they'll update the standard out of the box brick texture that they apply to their brick wall surfaces. But we've already experimented with bringing new textures in, and now I want to work with the PBR, the physically based rendering textures of brick. So to do that, we're going to go out to a source where we can gather those in. And keep in mind, sometime in the future, Revit will probably include much better enhanced brick textures for us to use without having to go out to another source. But there's always a reason to want to go out to these sources because they are full of, let me just close that window off. They're full of great resources for us. And texture.com is one that I would recommend. I'm going to go through and grab our brick in this one. They are basic materials and objects to service the Unity browser and the Unreal Engine browsers for gaming, but also now for movie and other kinds of video production work to create photorealistic scenes for all kinds of purposes. We'll find a lot of utility in our architectural work. But the idea is that these are not specifically for architecture, so they have a wide variety of materials. Some of them distressed, we might find them really very useful for shall I say, the contextual fabric of the architecture that we're dealing with. So in this case, we're going to go right to the PBR materials because we want to go through that technique of creating a PBR surface or texture. And we're going to select brick walls. And you could actually pick any one you want for this exercise. I'm just going to pick modern bricks. And we're going to go and take a look at downloading the resources that we need for this. And I've already done this once before, but what we want is our albedo, our normal bitmap, and at least our roughness bitmap. There's also an ambient occlusion bitmap. We could also download that. And I'm going to go ahead and start doing this. And what will come up on the window is the fact that I've done it before. I've created a PBR brick test folder and downloaded the 4 bitmaps, or the 4 images that I thought would be important in creating our PBR texture. Once again, the normal map as opposed to the height map, a roughness map, and this other one which is called an ambient occlusion map. And all of those are to inform our rendering engine how to make our brick appear with respect to light and reflectivity. So once those are saved, I can now go back out to Revit, and we'll take a look at how we're going to create a new brick surface. And I'm going to close off this one and open up a new file right away. And we'll go through the process that we always go through. We're going to grab a wall. We can start with a basic generic wall, but I'm going to go right away and duplicate it. And we'll call it brick test. Excuse me. And the first thing, once we have our brick wall, our brick test wall now renamed, we're going to go ahead and create a new texture. And this is where we need to pay some specific attention to this process, because we're actually going to have to open up a dummy material to apply the brick to that's a bit different than we've done before. So right away, I'll give a placeholder for it. I'm going to create a new material. And I'm going to go up and rename it. Brick PBR. And now we're going to look to create a new, and this, let me drag the window that's just opened onto the screen for you. We're going to go to open up our texture, our asset browser. We're going to go to the appearance library, We're going to go down to miscellaneous. This is the new part of the process, so to speak. And we're going to look for base materials. These are the base PBR materials. They have all the input functions for the textures that we've downloaded. And we're just going to grab the base material opaque and click that in. And we can now close that off. And then we can take a look at what we have here. We have places to put our image. We'll have places to put our image, our emissivity, our relief patterns, all of those inputs that we want to add. And the first one we're going to do is we're going to add a texture. Oops, excuse me. So I'm going to open up and navigate to my desktop where I have my PBR brick test, and I'm going to grab the file that has the actual appearance of brick, and I'm going to open that. And one of the problems I found is that we're always at the wrong scale of these things many times. So I'm going to click on this and see what it's importing it as a scale. See, it says only 1 foot. So let's say these are, let's just put it, just for the sake of doing this quickly, I'm going to put in for scale. I'm sorry, that window did not open on your screen, so let me drag it over. Just a second. I hate the way these never respond right on my computer. So here we have a 1 foot width for all of those brick. And let's say that's closer to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 5 feet. So we'll do 5. It's coming up as 5 inches. So we'll do 60. That'll give us 5 feet. That's done. We want to add a relief pattern. So we're going to select an image. That will be the, once again, this is on another screen, the normal pattern. And I think you can, I thought you could drag and drop with this. And we want it to be, it's because this is the purple, it's a normal map, so we want to track it as a normal map. And we'll click done. And then we have these, we want to add a texture. So I have to figure out where we do that. A roughness, let's see if we can add this in here. We can put an image in for roughness, and we can grab our roughness image and import it there. And we have also these advanced highlight controls. Let's see what that gives us. I don't see a place to easily put that in, so we'll leave that off for this experiment. And actually, what I should do is check just before we get too far along here, is to make sure that all of these textures are coming in at the same scale, and they're not. So once again, I need to change this to 65 feet. I need to change this one the same way, so they're all mapped the same. Apply those. Okay, okay, and now we're actually ready with our texture to draw a section of wall and take a look at it. So there we have a pretty darn nice looking brick texture. One of the things I think we can experiment here is it doesn't require ray trace rendering. I'm going to go to realistic rendering. Excuse me, I'm going to go to my palette to adjust my options here. And I'm going to change the lighting on this. So right now it's an in-session lighting. I'm going to change it to top right and apply it. Yeah, it's not showing up on your screen, sorry. Now let me just zoom in here on the brick a little bit more. I'm going to cancel this out so I can zoom in a little bit on the brick. And go back to our graphic display options. And I'm going to change the in-session lighting to top right. I'm going to hit apply and see if that does any effect on it. It doesn't actually in this case. There it goes. I was hoping it would show the shadow detail. So you can see here how the highlights are catching on the top. Let's actually try this with a certain time of day. Let's go to summer solstice and apply it. And so you can see how the modification, let's go to winter solstice, very flat. Let's try. So you can see how the effect of the light is now playing on the actual surface to create some kind of shadow details. Let's see if we can go to summer solstice at, let's say, 6 p.m. and apply that. I think that's a great kind of proof of what's going on here. So this is late in the day in the summer. So we have this high angle and we get this highlighting coming across the side of the brick. And all of this is not happening in ray traced rendering. It's happening to the surfaces of the brick right in our standard rendering. So it's a really powerful and interesting tool for us to take the time to explore. So when we get to do studio work, we're fully equipped to apply the kind of textures that'll make our projects both realistic and more, what can I say it, tangible.